Ladies and gentlemen, Erika Henningsen!
How are you? Yay!
Welcome to Indiana.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So we were just talking backstage that you had previously planned to do a couple other cons in the area and had to cancel. So you're getting to see all of the fans from the Midwest right now.
Yes, I love the Midwest. I went to school in Michigan, so this is like a very nice little homecoming. But I feel like I've met a lot of people who said, oh, I was going to see you in Columbus or Lexington, so I'm happy I'm meeting you here in Indiana.
So how many of you are here because you like Mean Girls? Okay. And how many of you are here because you like Hazbin Hotel?
That tracks.
That definitely tracks. But since Hazbin is set in hell, I'm going to torture you and talk Mean Girls first. That cool? Make you wait. So you were actually the Cady that I got to see on Broadway. What was it like for you getting to play such an iconic role?
Oh my gosh. I feel like, it's kind of the gift that I was given with Hazbin Hotel too, which is that because people liked the movie, when people showed up in the audience, they were already excited because they were like, brand recognition, we know what this is. And there's something really fun in that of sort of knowing when somebody is sitting in the audience that they are already excited to be there because they loved the movie or they loved Tina Fey or whatever reason. So that was really exciting because I feel very lucky because that has also happened with Hazbin Hotel. Obviously, we were super hopeful that you all liked it, but I felt like we walked into something with a fan base already rabidly built. Feral. Built.
Very feral.
So that, I just feel very lucky that, two of, some of the larger things I've worked on, I got to walk in and be a new version of a character that you hopefully already identified with or liked, be it Cady Heron or Charlie Morningstar. So that was really, really special.
How did you approach making Cady your own without getting too far from the beloved movie?
The beloved movie. Well, I am not Lindsay Lohan. Shocker. What? I'm leaving. I feel like a big part of it, it's sort of the advice I always give to actors, young actors anyway, is you literally physically cannot be somebody else. So when you accept that fact and just try and bring yourself to it, the making the character your own happens by proxy. So I am really energetic and if you watch the Mean Girls movie, Lindsay Lohan is a lot cooler, I think, than I am as a human. So I feel like the Cady that came out was somebody who felt closer to me because I let her be a version that felt authentic as opposed to trying to be the version that was in the movie. And that version was somebody who was very eager and overexcited, which is also kind of how Charlie is. So I just play the same thing. I'm not that talented.
Do you have a favorite song to perform that you don't listen to as often, or a favorite that you listen to and don't enjoy performing as much?
In life, from all things?
From Mean Girls
Okay.
specifically. We're
From
keeping it to
Mean Girls
'cause I'm
specifically.
torturing you all.
Okay, that's a good question for Hazbin too, so hold that, because
Yes.
I feel like it would be surprising. Mean Girls, I loved listening to Apex Predator, but I hated singing it. Does anybody know? The Apex Predator was the thing where it was we're in the mall, and you have to run up all these stairs and then run down the stairs, and you're singing, and every time I got to that part of the show, I was like, oh God, I'm so tired, I don't want to do this. But that song on the album is a fucking bop. So
It's my favorite.
it's one of the best songs on the album, but it was my least favorite one to perform. Also, I feel like I had PTSD about that number because basically the number started and we'd be rolled onto the stage on an escalator. So I would exit the stage, go backstage, and I'd run up an escalator and they would push the escalator on stage. And there was one day where in theater, the backstage is really small, especially in Broadway, and they have to hang things from the ceiling for storage. So they were storing Regina's bedroom. They store it up in the rafters. It's wild. If you walked into our backstage, you just see Regina's bed. And I like run up the escalator, and our crew guy that day, not his fault, just like shit happens. He hadn't pulled it up high enough. And so I'm running up the escalator to make my entrance, and I just go boom, straight into the side of her bed. And they're like, what happened? Are you okay? I was like, I'm good. And they roll the escalator on stage, and I was like, I think I have a concussion. and like, there's no time to tell anybody, because like the show works like a movie. It just goes. And so I'm on stage singing Apex Predator. I'm like staring into Barrett Wilbert-Weed's eyes, trying to communicate like, I think my brain is bleeding. It wasn't. It's okay. Sorry, it got really quiet. They're like, oh my God. Like, did she ever get the concussion checked out? But so like that number became a number where I just was like panicked that things were gonna like fall out of the sky at any second. So that's a long answer to your question of that was my least favorite number to perform.
I feel like you have trauma from that song.
I have trauma, but the song is great. But now if you listen to it, you'll know that trauma as well.
Now I'll just listen to it and giggle.
Yeah, exactly. And I was fine, but we did have to stop the show. I had to call out, and my understudy went on, and I went to the urgent care, and they like dilated my pupils, and they basically said like, we think you're okay, but you should definitely not be on Broadway tonight.
For Broadway.com, you did a little vlog series behind the scenes of Too Gruel for School. Talk a little bit about creating that little vlog.
I mean, I feel like the world, I grew up on like Tumblr and MySpace. That was sort of like my thing. Let's go Tumblr. And so like vlogging was something that, and I feel like I've learned this more. I love what I get to do, but I never think that it's like, I'm like, this isn't interesting to people, like watching us walk into our backstage that is like this big, or walking into a voice booth. Like, I didn't realize that sort of behind the scenes thing was, because it's just part of my day to day. But then I thought about it. If I had been 13, 14 years old and had been able to watch vlogs and videos of the people that I admired or aspired to be just going about their day, I think it would have made it feel a lot more attainable and like a thing I could actually do, because we're not, we're waking up in our 1-bedroom apartments in New York, like we're making breakfast, we're walking the dog. Like, it's not crazy different, I think, from how people are leading their own lives. And I just, for so long as a kid, I put the people that I admired on this pedestal of like, they must wake up and like be Broadway stars as soon as they open their eyes. And that's just like not the case. And so that was why I loved doing the vlog, because I was like, look, like it's all the same. It's just our job at the end of the day is doing the Broadway show. But like, I still have to like, I still call my mom because I don't know if my chicken is expired. So like, it's like a real thing. I'm just like, I should know this by now. I'm an adult, but I don't. So I love.
You were inadequately prepared to be adult at this
Nobody
point.
is adequately prepared to be an adult. And so, yeah, so I liked doing the vlogs for that reason, because I realized like, I think it is weird for me because I'm like, I just am myself, and I think it is odd sometimes to put yourself at the center of your own story and be like, let me film myself and people are gonna watch it. That's just weird to do sometimes. But I realized the thing that sort of made my brain switch was I was like, I would have really enjoyed this as a teen, because it would have made things feel closer, and would have made me feel like I knew these people, which I'm always going for in my work is I hope you feel like you get a chance to know me. I'm not the characters I play, but I infuse a lot of myself with them. And that's why I do love doing conventions, because I feel like you get to kind of bridge the gap between the character that you have fallen in love with and the person who plays them, and see sort of where they are similar and where they're different.
There's a little gap bridging between Mean Girls and Hazbin
Yes.
in episode 3, where there's a trust fall scene.
Oh my God! Wait, you're so right. Wait, what? Did you guys think that? Wait. Whoa, my mind is being blown right now with this panel. I fully didn't process that. You know why? It's because in Mean Girls, she does Right? Yeah, I never got up on the desk. So I like forgot that part. Sorry, continue.
Oh,
my brain has been blown. Okay.
I was just wondering if that was intentional. So
if it was intentional, maybe Viv did, because Viv Madrano, our creator, is like a huge Broadway fan. And I feel like I don't know if it was intentional, but it's also like the trust fall thing is so ingrained in the back of our brain in some way from Mean Girls lore. I feel like if it ended up in there, it could have fully been by Mean Girls, what's it called? Infiltration.
Which cast member would you trust the most to catch you in a trust fall?
Blake Roman.
Really?
Yeah. Well, okay, so Christina Alabato is my best friend. She plays Cherry Bomb. I would trust her, but she's also like, she also would be like, not because she doesn't want me to fall, but she might be like, eek! Like, I think she'd be a little scared. Blake would just like be there.
So I'm going to ask the question that I know a lot of you Hazbin fans want to ask. Season 2.
Yeah.
What can you say about season 2?
What if I was like, it's coming out on this day at this time? I wish I could do that. It is happening. Yay. We've also, something I realized, we've also been signed on for a season 3 and 4. Did people know that? Okay, that's like a real, that's like I'm not sharing info that isn't out there. I just feel like we dropped it on like our Instagram channel and like that's not the way to like, that's a bigger announcement. We needed to like take over the news channels. Like season 3 and 4 of Hazbin Hotel are officially confirmed. Season 2, we have finished recording. They're animating it right now. In a perfect world, it gets to you by the end of this year. In a perfect world. That is the goal. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Please don't be mad at me if it doesn't. But that's the goal, and it's a really cool season. It's a super different vibe than season 1. I think like they're so smart. We get some fun backstory stuff. We get some songs from characters we haven't heard sing yet. So I just think it's like chock full of stuff that's gonna like scratch the itch in everybody's brain of like, what does it sound like when Lute sings? What does it sound like when Shaggy and like sing a sexy duet? Like all that happens. And that's, I've already given away too much.
You're getting the tea, guys. You're getting the tea.
Yeah.
But with season 3 and 4 already being picked up, does that mean we'll get them faster because you are working a little bit ahead? Animation process takes a very long time.
Yeah, and like also I feel like the reason our animation takes so much longer is I didn't understand this, but I'm sure all you do because you're very smart and you like understand why the artwork is so beautiful. The character designs are insanity. Like the fact that Angel has those 3 little eyes under each eye, like that's fucking absurd for somebody to animate because every time Angel moves, we have to clock the eyes. So the reason our show takes so much longer than anything else is because Viz designs are that specific and that intricate. And I think ideally, yes, you will get 3 and 4 faster, but I don't know if we can make a season faster than 2 years, like a year to record, a year to animate. I think that's kind of the average because it's so complex. And our animation team is trying to give you things that you haven't seen before. So they're trying to give you like sequences of action that are really hard to animate, but so that you feel like every time you get a new episode of Hazbin Hotel, it's leveled up from the last one. We don't want to disappoint you. We want you to love it.
What aspect of the character's design from any of the characters do you like the most?
Oh, I really liked all of our battle outfits. And I liked our jammies. I'm such a like wardrobe person. Like I really enjoyed seeing the way people changed based on what element they were in. So I just love that Angel, when he goes into battle, is in lederhosen, basically. I was like, why is he dressed like a little German schoolboy? And nobody had an answer. They was just like, I don't know, I liked it. And I was like, I love that. Like, what a great fucking world that she's created. It's just like, I don't know, I thought it was fun. I was like, it is fun. There's no reason? Cool. I love that I decided to fight. Like, I was like, absolutely, I will not be wearing pants. I will be wearing, like, the shortest little red dress possible. And that makes sense for Charlie. So I love that. I love seeing the nonsensical way we change clothing for, like, intense action sequences.
What aspect of Charlie is most like you?
Like all of them. I'm gonna try and choose one that isn't so obvious. Because I feel like when you meet me, I feel like a lot of people are like, wow, you have so much in common. And we do. Like, we have a lot of the energy, the optimism. So I'm trying to think of something that's maybe less apparent from the surface. I think a big thing is I, like, really fear disappointing people. And for Charlie, it turns into, like, a people-pleasing thing. But I think with her parents, you know, there's this thing where she goes, I want to fulfill your expectations of me and above. And I think she really wants to have their validation and their belief in her. And I feel that not only with, like, my parents, to be personal, but just with, like, people I put in a position above me at all times. Like, I really, if I disappoint people, it really, like, gets to me. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to be the version of myself that I think people want. And I think that's a little different than people-pleasing. Like, people-pleasing feels kind of top layer. I think the thing that can happen when you're trying too hard to get validation from people who are just supposed to love you, I think that can turn into something that is more difficult to undo. And that is, like, a part of Charlie that I really empathize with. This thing of, yeah, she's nice to everybody and she wants people to be happy, but it comes from a place of, like, she wants to be seen for who she is by the people who matter to her most, which are her parents and her loved ones. And I think that's a part of her that, like, I'll just, like, it's very personal. I, like, relate to that a lot. And I think that's the thing. Like, you wouldn't know unless you are asked a question like that.
I was rewatching some of it last night with my husband and sister, and both of them, not knowing the other one did, were like, oh, look, it's you, about Charlie. And I was like, rude.
Rude!
Because it was like, she's, like, planning everything, and they're like, oh, look, it's you. I'm like,
Yes! There's a Charlie in every friend group. Raise your hand if you're the Charlie in your friend group. Yes!
Thank you.
Yes!
Thank you.
It's, like, a great role to be, but sometimes it's hard, right?
It is so hard.
You're like, yes. You're like, yes. We need to have, like, a Charlie rehab center for all the Charlies. That's the thing. It's like, I do think it's kind of like the person who needs sometimes rehabilitation is Charlie herself, but for different reasons.
But now we got to circle back to the music question for Hazbin. Mm-hmm. So what song would you want to perform live from Hazbin, and which do you want to listen to on repeat?
Okay, what I want to perform live is Ready for This, because I want, because I want us all to be singing on stage together. Like, Ready for This is my favorite number in the show because it's the first time you hear everybody sing, like, as one. Because a lot of, like, for the first time in our lives, that's like, it's all, even if that character isn't in the scene, like, that's Kamiko singing. That's, you know, Cherry Bomb singing. That's Joelle singing. So I really want to do that. The song that is a fucking bitch to perform, pardon my French, is Happy Day in Hell. It's so hard. It's so hard. And, like, the day we recorded that song, it was my first day. And basically, I don't trust that I have a job until, like, the check clears, but you can still get fired. So I walk in and I was like, if I don't sell the shit out of this song, I will not be Charlie Morningstar after today's session. Because I had not met Viv yet, I had not met Richard Horvitz. I basically walk in to our booth and they're like, okay, great, we're gonna record episode 1, and we're gonna start with the scenes, and then we're gonna end with the song, which now I do it reverse. I always start with the song, because Charlie's singing voice to me helps me sound like her as a speaking voice. So I always start with the song now because it helps me get into character. So we do the episode, and I was like, oh, that was fine. And this is what's so wild is, like, if you watch episode 1, we don't got it yet. Like, somebody's like, truth. Not your best work. Some people are, like, fully dropped in. I am the first to be like, I remember watching episode 1 and being like, oh God, I would do that totally differently. But I'm also so forgiving of that because I'm like, I didn't even know what this was yet. Like, I did not know what this character was yet. I had the pilot, but similar to Mean Girls, I was like, I can't do what Jill Harris did. Like, I'm not that. So I have to figure out something different. So episode 1, I feel like, is a bunch of us finding our footing. And I feel like you can hear it in, I'll just speak for me. I feel like you can totally hear it in my vocal performance. But the song is where I was like, this I can nail. And I feel like I went to another dimension because we recorded it in one take, and that take is basically what ended up in the show. And it is insane because so much adrenaline was in it. So much adrenaline of like, I don't want to get fired. This has to go well because I don't really know how the lines went, so I got to make sure this goes well. Not knowing how much time we had, now I know, yeah, if we don't get a take, like, we can go back. In musical theater, you sing the song from beginning to finish. Like, there's no, like, pause the orchestra. Can we, like, go back? There's none of that. You're like, you better be ready to go. So when they're like, we're going to do the song, I assumed I'm going to have 1 to 2 takes. So I have to nail this. That is the take that they ended up using. And when I sing that song live, it is impossible to recreate that adrenaline ever again. And that is why that song is my least favorite to sing now. I love it dearly, but it's just like, it's a lot of words. And it's really high. And the last note is really long. And you can only do that when you have the fear of God inside you.
If you have questions for Erika, you can line up over on the side over here, and we'll get to those. So we'll start with our first question. What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Jaslyn, and my question is, what was your favorite line to film in Hazbin, and can you do it if you don't mind?
Yes, my favorite line, it's actually an exchange between Lucifer and Charlie. And Lucifer goes, and I am gonna fuck you. And it's just like, blink, blink, and Charlie goes, Dad? It's fuck you up. She's very rarely like quiet and sly, which is why I love that one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Hello, I am Taylor,
Taylor.
and I wanted to ask you, if, as Charlie, what character would she love to meet from any fandom?
From any fandom. I mean, I feel like, oh God, maybe this is Erika's answer, but we have a lot in common. I really feel like she'd want to meet Hermione Granger. Ooh. I just feel like, yeah, I don't know, something about like the concept of right and wrong, and I think Charlie's really smart and a little type A, similar to Hermione. I also feel like I feel like they would have a common thread between them. So that could also just be my answer coming out as Charlie's answer. I want to meet Hermione. Yes, that's my answer.
Thank you.
If Charlie had if Charlie had a favorite dessert, what would it be and why? And could you tell us what she would think that the other people in the hotel's favorite desserts would be?
I don't know if I can speak for everybody else, but I think Charlie's favorite dessert would be Fun Dip.
Just straight sugar.
Straight sugar, yeah. Just like I don't need it to be fancy. Just put it in my veins.
Okay.
Thank you. And I can't speak for the rest of them. I don't know.
No, thank you.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you. You look awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Remy. My question is basically during season 1, we see Charlie's attempts to redeem these sinners, and everybody else in the hotel is involved in this redemption in some capacity, except for Alistair and Husk. What are your thoughts on that? Is Charlie just like oblivious to them, or do you think there's a reason for that?
I appreciate this question, and I cannot answer it.
Nice try, though.
Sorry.
But I love you. You shot your shot.
We all
Thank
want
you.
the tea. It's okay.
I know. I will say I have to like really check myself because we're getting into season 3 stuff right now. Like they're writing things. So I know a lot that I'm not allowed to share, and I have to remind myself, like, what do you guys know? Okay, great.
What's your name and what's your question?
Hello. So my question to you is, based on the interactions with Charlie and the rest of the characters, what was your favorite character that Charlie interacted with in the show?
Oh, I mean, oh God, that's so hard. Like, it's also so hard because I know our cast now, like somebody today found out that we don't record together. Like we recorded totally separately. I didn't know Jeremy Jordan was playing my dad until they started playing More Than Anything, and I was like, shut the front door, that's Jeremy Jordan. And that was like that's like a feeling you'll never get over. You find out like a person you've wanted to sing with, you're singing with, they're just not in the room with you. So I don't know, I like Jeremy because I'm a theater kid and I like loved him growing up and love him as an adult. So that was really fun. And then I think like what I really love is like I'm really close friends with Christina Alabato and Blake Roman. So I really love anytime Cherry, Angel, and Charlie interact because it's just fun because I'm like, that's us, but like our characters.
Yeah, thank you for the
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi there, I'm John, and as a fellow musical theater actor who wants to do voiceover work, what sort of skills transfer over from the stage to the sound booth, and what sort of pitfalls are there to watch out for?
Wow, yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Okay, I would say the thing that transfers the pitfall, this is the pitfall, I think, is theater, you get a ton of time to rehearse. And you also kind of have a director telling you, like, here's what we think the scene is. There's no time for that in voiceover. In voiceover, you walk in, you got the script and the song sometimes the day before, and you walk in and they're like, all right, let's go with line 1, give us an ABC take. And you just have to trust your instincts so much that you're like, great, this thing that is gonna end up in the final version that all of you are gonna watch on repeat, you psychos. I have to choose right now what that is. In theater, you never have to choose right now because you get to do it the next day, again, sometimes twice a day. You have a rehearsal process that's a month to 2 months long. It's constantly evolving and changing, and you get to move with it. In voiceover, you are in charge of what the character is, and you have about an hour to record that episode. So, like, the pitfall is being a theater actor who walks in and goes, well, I'll kind of warm up into this. I'll figure this out. You got to be, like, ready to go, ready to improv, ready to try a bunch of things, and forget about it and move on with your day. How it transfers is... How I think it transfers is performance energy. Like, I think what's really wild, the worst sessions I've had, I've never had like a bad voiceover session, but like theater actors know what it's like to have an audience. And so we know how to turn it on. We know how to like do that thing that gives it the extra 10, 15% that makes it pop when it's animated. If you haven't had that experience, sometimes the vocal performance, the voice actor performance falls flat because you're in this cozy, dark space. Nobody's staring at you. You're like, oh, I can just kind of like phone it in. And then you hear it in the final product. So for a lot of people, they're like, well, how do I become a voice actor? I'm like, you just have to become an actor. Like, get in front of people. Get into an acting class, an improv class. Because if you don't have that element of feedback from the audience, I promise you, you're not gonna be brave enough to do the things you need to do in a vocal booth, which is to be silly and loud and gross and like wild, and to have performance energy where you're like, yeah, I know there's no audience here watching me, but I need to pretend that there is so that this scene really pops when the animators get it. Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, good luck with everything.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name's Lauren, and I think it's been confirmed that Hazbin and Hell of a Boss won't have any crossover, but if there was, if you watch Hell of a Boss, who would you want to interact with? Like, which characters?
Well, it's also, again, it's getting so hard because I'm meeting the voice actors, so I'm obsessed with Erika Lindbeck, so not because she has my name, but so I really want to see what Charlie and Luna would, like, say to one another. I would love to see that. I also love Stolas, so... I would love to see a scene between the two of them. But that, again, that's just because I'm like, I like those characters and I like the people who play them too. And honestly, like, what would happen if Blitzo was in the room with her? I don't know. I just don't know. But those are my thoughts.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, my name is Julia. Earlier you mentioned that you are usually cast as like the high energy characters. If you could play any other type of character, what would it be?
Oh my God. It's so weird. I actually started my career not doing that. I don't know, was I just faking it? I don't know. I played Fantine in Les Mis on Broadway. And awesome. She is not high energy. Girl has every illness and plague known to mankind. And she dies from them. So I kind of love that stuff. I love melodrama. It is why I love Hazbin, because as much as I know Charlie is the positive, happy one, there is some stuff that is gonna go down in Hazbin Hotel that I think will tilt into that. I love dramatic, serious stuff. So I think those are the characters I want to play, and that's why I'm always grateful for an experience like Hazbin Hotel that's going to have multiple seasons, because I think we're going to get to see that happen. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Alex. This questions might be a little sensitive.
Oh my gosh, I love a sensitive question. Okay, I'm nervous.
Were you worried at any point during Hazbin Hotel that the story, the characters, and the world building were gonna upset the religious watchers, audiences?
Oh yeah. I think we're still worried about that.
I mean, I did think about how it's Sunday and we're having this panel.
I know.
Yep.
You guys are all going to fucking hell. No, here's the thing. I don't think you can make art without worrying that it's going to offend people. Things that are inoffensive aren't good. They're just not. Because everybody is being offended is a personal thing. Because if something was universally offensive, we would all have the same reaction to it. And so I think what Viv is so smart about is she's like, look, I have this story that is going to rub people the wrong way. It's also going to save some people, and both deserve airtime. And I think what I am so proud about is I grew up very Catholic. My in-laws are very Christian. I'm very aware that there is a sort of that thing you do, that show you're on feeling with some people in my family. But then I tell them stories about coming to conventions, and I tell them stories about what people say the show got them through, and the friends they met, and the fiancés they met through the show, the love they found through this. And I just go, you cannot dismiss something like this that is bringing people together. And I'll tear up. I'm so proud to be a part of something like this, because I know that it can be divisive, and I also see how it can be wholly unifying. And I'm so grateful that Viv created it and that I'm a part of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Kaya. I'm a theater kid, and I would have been every
Yay,
show.
hi, me too.
Every show I've ever done, I've always had a line that I really looked forward to saying. Did you ever have a line that you looked forward to saying?
As Charlie or as Cady, or just in life?
In general. Up to you.
Oh my God, this is a really good question. Oh my God. Wait. Okay, I really want to think about this. Running through all the lines I've ever said in my head. Okay. Wow, this is a great question. I'm struggling. Okay. Wait, there's a line in Hazbin Hotel in a song. It's always a song. It's usually a musical line. Wait, oh my God. Okay, this is really stressing me out. I feel like it's in the finale. It's when they're all singing, and I really I get to sing over it. They're like, we can do this, and I go, we can do this, we'll be better, though redemption may take a while, I just love that little part. I just think it's fun. I don't know if that was the answer you wanted, but that's the answer I have for you. I feel really stressed because I want to give a good answer to this, and I can't remember a single line I've ever said in this moment. I'm gonna keep thinking about this, and at the very end of the panel, I will have another answer for you.
Is it okay if I leave you this bracelet?
I would love to have this bracelet. Thank you. Thank you so much. I love it. Oh, I know what it is. In Mean Girls, I would sing at the end of the Mathletes competition. I would go, "The limit does not exist." That's what I would say. That was fun.
Iconic line.
That's an iconic line, and it was sung, and it was fun, and I was wearing a varsity Mathletes jacket, and I was like, what more could I want?
Exactly. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Juliana from earlier. I don't know if you remember me.
I remember you.
But my question was, were there any, like, what was the hardest challenge you had to do whenever you were recording for Hazbin Hotel?
Yeah, I would say the hardest challenge was not passing out sometimes.
What?
Because Charlie talks like this, and she's really up higher, and it's always like, and that is like a thing you actually need to, like, you have to hold your breath. And there would be times where Richard would be like, okay, we're gonna take that again. I need you to sit down and take 3 deep breaths. So that was the hard, like, that's not, like, it's hard, but that was like maybe the most challenging. Was like sometimes I would get big chunks of text of Charlie like freaking out, and I would just be like, all right, whew, here we go. That's the hardest part.
Brace yourself before it's time to film.
Exactly. Thank you for your question, love.
Thank you. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Paris.
Hi, Paris.
And my question is, so like I'm a child actor, and how do you get over the anxiety of being in plays and stuff?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, Paris, secret, I don't.
Oh.
I still get very nervous. Here's what happens. Here's what I will say. You get used to the nerves. So they never really go away, but you start to treat them like a little friend that you like pet next to you. This is my little... I like characterize, like, what does it look like? Mine is blue. Welcome to my brain. You never get used to it, and you're still gonna be pretty nervous sometimes, but you start to not panic on top of being nervous. So like when I get nervous, instead of going, oh, I'm nervous, I hate nerves, go away, I go, yeah, of course I'm nervous, I care about this. This is a crazy thing I'm about to do. I'm about to go on stage in front of people and say made up words. What? And I literally say, the nerves are natural and they should be there. And the more you kind of accept them in and know that they're not gonna go away really ever, the less power they have. Because I think that's what you're asking is, how do I make the nerves less powerful? The nerves will always be there. I really think, like accepting them and knowing that they'll always show up helps you be prepared for them and not anxious when they do. Sound good?
Is it okay if I give you this 3D printed axolotl?
I would love it. What is it? What? Yo,
It's a 3D
give it
printed
up for Paris.
axolotl.
That's cool. Oh my God, love. Can you see it? Hi.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
I am Piper, and my question is, would Charlie be a coffee drinker or a tea drinker?
Oh.
Yes.
I'm like, she
I
doesn't
don't
need
think
any
Charlie needs
caffeine. She
caffeine.
wakes up and is like, wow! I think tea to calm her down, but I think what it would be is like, I think Vaggie would be like, shove a teacup into her hands and be like, you need to drink this. I feel like she's constantly dehydrated and running on Fun Dip.
That is fair. Thank you.
Thanks for the
Thank
question.
you.
Constantly dehydrated and running on Fun Dip. Yeah,
That's-
that's like the business card.
Yes, 100%.
Hi, I'm Allie. What was it like to get the confirmation that you were actually going to be Charlie Morningstar?
Oh my God. Okay, it was so. Again, I'm not gonna lie. I really mean it when I say I don't believe that I have the job until they're like, hey, can you come back tomorrow? So I got the call that I got Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, cool. This isn't gonna come together. Something's gonna happen. I
Nonchalant.
record episode 1. I leave being like, I'll get fired. I get the schedule for next week to record episode 2. And that's when I was like, okay, this is a real thing that's happening. And I feel like it came in waves. Like I did not, because you're just, so many things fall through when you're an actor. You just like really can't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
When I got the call about Charlie, it was like in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so long ago. everything was so uncertain. So I didn't have that big celebratory moment because I was just like, this could get taken away because so much got taken away during that time. So it wasn't until we started doing episode 2 that it like hit me what I was doing.
That sinking gut feeling.
Yeah, and in a good feeling of like, oh my God, I think I'm getting to do like what might be one of the coolest things I'll ever do in my life as a performer. And that's when it happened. It was like 8 months delayed. And it's still kind of happening.
Better late than never.
Better late than never, yeah. Good question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
I'm Natalie, and I just wanted to know, what if like Charlie were to play Five Nights at Freddy's or something, like any game, what would her reaction be?
I feel like she's like the person who forces every single game upon people, and they're like, we want to go to bed. You're like, no, we're doing one more. Yeah, her reaction to a game night is, fuck yes, let's go. Good question. Thanks, love.
Hi, what's your name and what's your question?
My name's Nicole, and I was curious if you couldn't play Charlie Morningstar, would there be any other Hazbin Hotel characters you'd like to play? Oh my God,
yeah. I mean, like, I want to play Angel Dust. Don't we all? And I say that. I know Angel Dust has gone through a lot. I just, like... He's so slinky. I want to play that. Yeah, I want to do that. And then, like, I don't know. I want to know. I could never do this. I just want to know what it is like to sound like Keith David, just for like a day. Like if I was Keith David, I would just like go to restaurants and order stuff. I would just like talk in public as much as possible. Just like see what happened. I would stand up in airplanes and like be like, I will be your, like I can't even do it. But like I would just be like, you have such authority. He could lead a cult.
Thank you.
Hi. Yes.
Hi. Thanks. What's your name and what's your question?
Hi, I'm Dominic. Hello again.
Hello again.
I have a question. I'm
me.
not sure if we'll need a hell of a boss crossover or anything, but does Charlie have a dynamic with the leaders of the other sins?
I can't answer that. I'm so sorry.
But let's say, what if?
I can't. I can't only because I'm like I'm so worried that something will happen one day that we say something and then you're like, in this interview that she did in Indiana in 2025, she said this, which relates to this, because I know y'all do that, which is great. I love that you do that, but I can't answer it.
Could I ask one more?
You can ask one more. I can't.